Hello and welcome to episode 174 of the Forest All Over podcast. 3 is the magic number this week as we beat West Ham 3-0 and we are sitting in third in the Premier League table. Can you quite believe it? Well, before we start to believe, I just want to leave a quick video message from our co-host Matt, or my co-host Matt, or whatever, because fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to put it, Matt will not be joining us today, but Jacob, the very able Jacob from Mist Rolling In podcast, will fill in for him and we'll go through some of the events of the week and what's gone on and what's coming up and the excitement and everything. But first, here's Matt. All right, let's hear Matt.
Okay, I'm just chiming in, guys. Sorry I can't be there. I'm waiting for a train in West London. And Jacob. Oh, that was a train going by. JJ, thanks for covering for me.
It's Jacob.
Episode post West Ham pre-Newcastle. I had an amazing time at the West Ham game. What a game! Really grateful to have gotten a seat. Very lucky as always. Loved it. Big shout out to Dominguez for me, Aina, and all the usual suspects. Chris Wood's got to get man of the match though because of his goal line save. And
agree.
And
That'd be a high
got to
thought,
pull a couple of things up. Chris, don't anyone listen to this. Let Chris convince you that he did well predicting a 3-1 win. It was nowhere near. It was 3-0. I love the shout out on Forest Fan TV that tore Chris a new one because he's gloating so hard on how his predictions are getting good. But I'm happy to see the world bringing him back down to earth. And yeah, Chris, I'll see you and the listeners in a week's time after the Newcastle game. I hope you all enjoy. And thanks again, Jacob, for chiming in. Bye-bye.
So he called you Jacob, then JJ, then Jacob again.
There's lots of J's.
Yeah, well, that's disappointing. It's disappointing that he's calling me out for predicting a 3-1 win and we won 3-0. I think that's pretty close. Do you agree, Jacob?
Yeah, it's only a goal, right?
Well, yeah, and I predicted a win. I predicted we'd score 3 goals. It's like, oh, devastating. But yeah, anyway, there's Matt, everyone. Sorry about Matt. And yeah, you know, I appreciate Jacob filling in. Thank you for filling in, Jacob. You gave me one of the worst moments, I think, of my podcast career where you created a quiz that me, Matt, and JJ did on your podcast, and Matt inexplicably won, and I have not heard the end of it since. It was a Forest quiz as well, devastating, and I blame you for the questions. But it was a bad moment in time. But how are you doing, Jacob? How are you feeling about everything? It's particularly Forest.
I'm top of the shop. I don't know another way to describe it, Chris, if I'm being honest. This is like wildest dreams situation, isn't it? And I think everybody should enjoy it and dream of top 4 and title challenge. Why not? Because otherwise, why are we doing it, right?
Well, like, look, you have to believe, and I think even the funny thing is, even the media, even the media narrative has turned now, and everyone from BBC to TalkSport to Sky is talking about Forest being this new wave team, which is kind of a fascinating turnaround and a major juxtaposition from, you know, them slagging us off only 18 months ago, 2 years ago, from when we were signed 30 players or whatever. They were still slagging us off throughout that season. So it's just, for me, it's just a major turn. Now, listen, I think obviously what we're going to talk about today, we'll chat about the winning formula and West Ham stuff. We'll chat a little bit about Edu as well, and we'll have a chat about our upcoming fixtures, probably the next 6 specifically, because they're the toughest run we've had. And then obviously we'll talk a little bit about Newcastle at the end. But just an amazing feeling around, and I think we can't quite believe it, can we? We're kind of waking up, looking at the table, going, we're 10 games in and we're third. That's crazy, right?
And we should be top, in my opinion. We should have beat Bournemouth. Is that, you know, these things happen, but the equaliser was a complete fluke. It was nobody's fault. That should be an extra 2 points. We should have beat Fulham. Their penalty was never a penalty, and we should have had a penalty. So I think we should be top.
I love that. See, that's my thing is, oh wow, we've got this far, and you're like, no, we should be top. We should have beaten Bournemouth, beaten Wolves, beaten Fulham.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're quite right about all those things. That's the thing. You're actually right. We should have won those games. I was at the Bournemouth game. Should have won it. Wolves game, should have won it. Fulham game, probably should have been a draw. 0-0 draw would have been fair.
Yeah. That was one of the worst games I've ever. That was such an odd game because, you know, when I saw it, it was like a 4-4-2, and it was almost like the Liverpool game away, where it was like we'll make early exciting substitutions, and you kind of go, well, got out the first half unscathed. They're a dangerous team. And then the second that penalty goes in, you go, we just wasted 50 minutes doing nothing.
I know. We wouldn't have thought that had that penalty not got in.
No.
We would have like switched things up later. I think strategy-wise, I actually liked the strategy early on. But look, needless to say, we haven't played that way at home since, and we've won the last 3 games in a row playing the way we should be playing. But look, West Ham on Saturday, 3-1 win, lots of goals. Every other podcast has probably dissected it by now. But in general, we have a winning formula going. We've won 3 in a row for the first time being back in the Premier League. Like, what is the winning formula for us, and why do you think we're doing so well?
I think for me, and feel free to tell me that I'm completely wrong and out of it for this opinion, but since Nuno took over the end of last season to the end of last season, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see any signs of anything like this coming. I thought we'd be in another 15th, 16th battle. I thought Nuno would be gone by kind of January, February. If I'm being honest, I didn't see anything like this coming. And I know this could all drop off a cliff horribly, but let's dream. I didn't see any of this coming. But I think for me, the winning formula is a mix of flexibility and consistency, and I think all the best teams have it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, depth as well. And I suppose with the flexibility, you're talking about the midfield players dropping out and new ones coming in to step in. Is that what you mean, or do you mean strategic wise?
No, absolutely. So, like for me, that exactly the point. Midfield 3 interchangeable. Like arguably our two starting. Well, they were our 2 starting centre midfielders in Sangare and Danilo. Danilo's out forever, and Sangare, I don't even know what's wrong with him, but he's out. And then Yates and Dominguez have come in. Or Yates and Anderson initially, and then Yates and Dominguez have come in, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. Our 10, Morgan Gibbs-White, our best player, gets injured, and Elliot Anderson literally looks like a will beater who's going to get the England squad. It's just seamless.
It's that as well. Like, I think it was Savraj, friend of the podcast, was messaging me today about it. He said about 2.5 years ago, we need to find the new Morgan Gibbs-White. Already in the first season, he said, we need to find the new one. He said this like 6 months into the first season Gibbs-White was playing for us. And we might have found it. And I'm not saying I want to keep Gibbs-White for a 4th year and a 5th year. If we grow like this, if we end up getting European places, right? I'm just dreaming here, but I mean, we're in them right now. Gibbs-White might stay another year. And then, you know what I mean? Then we have these cool headaches. But right now, this Anderson backup is very, very good. And you spoke about flexibility earlier. He is so flexible.
Literally anywhere across the midfield, right?
Wing, 8, 10. It's just, he is a really, really flexible, dynamic player. And it's just so exciting. For me, the winning formula, I think, which I want you to talk a little bit about, because I talk way too much in these podcasts. Defense. I mean, everyone's talking about Milenkovic. Murillo's probably grown being alongside Milenkovic. They complement each other so well. What I wonder is, once one of them drops out, I think we'll still be okay, because I think Morato will step into either Murillo or Milenkovic's shoes. Bolly was our starting centre-back last year. Yeah. Omobamidele is very talented. I know he's Irish. I'm biased. He's talented. He's our 5th defender, and I think he's a talented centre-back, I do. And he's learning a lot from the best in front of him as well, which is great. And then obviously Moreno's come in and done really, really well. Williams is knocking on the door for him. Aina's the best fullback we've had in 25 years, in my opinion, since Stuart Pearce. I just defensively, I want you to talk a little bit about that and what's impressed you so much. I might have said it all, but you'll say better than me.
No, I agree. So my part on consistency was the back 5, so including Matt Seltzer. I know he had a bit of a wobble against Brighton. That was acceptable in my opinion, but it's before and since then he's been phenomenal. But they all know their jobs. They all know where each other is. And you can even extend that as far as the flanks as well. And you look at Moreno and Callum Hudson-Odoi down the left. You look at Ola Aina and Anthony Elanga down the right. And it's just everybody knows where each other. Everybody knows their jobs. Everybody, they're so tight. I think you're right about Murillo gets injured, Morato can step in, and Milenkovic gets injured, Bolly can step in. It's just, Nico Williams could come on at either fullback. Eric Moreira da Silva, I'm going to butcher his name, but he came on at the weekend. Sosa and Jota can come on the wings. It's just consistency, but also with the flexibility of moving them in and out. It's just phenomenal.
The relentlessness of those substitutes as well. Being a team playing against Forest, and having to face up against Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White, and a really on-form Chris Wood, then looking to the bench, and you've got these dogged wolfhounds in Jota Silva, Souza, and Taiwo Awoniyi ready to come on, or Awoniyi, sorry, I always get his name wrong, ready to come on, and you're just going, oh, like imagine playing against that going, oh, not again. Like they're already tired. It's 60, 70 minutes. And then you see them on the sidelines and it's just wave after wave. And, you know, I think getting those two wingers, I almost thought we had too many wingers. I was wrong. No, this is the new game. Do you know what I mean? Like you need that. And they're happy to come off the bench. That's what makes me so happy as well, you know?
I think that's a great comment about the new game. I think since they've swapped to such a large bench, I think it's 9 on the bench now, and being able to make those 5 substitutions, it is a new game. You are able to change half the outfield. So you could literally sign players who are happy to sit on the bench because they know they're going to get 30, 40 minutes a week. It's but know that, you know, let's say Callum Hudson-Odoi has a phenomenal season. We don't get Europe. He goes to somebody in Europe. You just go, well, Jota Silva straight in. And let's get the next one who's happy to sit on the bench. And it's just but we've got such a good progression and rotation going forward that, you know, where is the weakness in our squad?
I don't. That's a great question. It used to be goalkeeper in our heads. Also just the flexibility of Dominguez is an 8, but could probably play the 6, and could probably play a little further forward as well,
or on the either wing.
Yeah, like when you know, there's just so many players filling in so many different positions. Like I wouldn't like to play a false 9 because it hasn't worked for us ever, and obviously we've got 2 strikers, and we've been worried about that in the transfer window. But with Wood fit and Taiwo getting minutes gradually, we're completely happy with where we are. I think we'll probably look for a striker in January just in case, or depending on where we are in the table, we'll try and kick on. But Chris Wood, let's talk a little bit about him. We have to talk about him.
But he's literally the same type of player as Haaland, isn't he? He is, and I say this with
he's not Haaland, but he's playing like Haaland.
With the nicest, same type of player. It's the best intentions, but he is useless if his eyes aren't on the goal. But when they are, it's going in the back of the net. That's.
I also think some of his bring like some of his touches and bring the ball down play, like some of his touches aren't perfect. He looks like he takes an extra bit of time on the ball, but he's just smart. He has his back. He seems to get in front of every single defender every time, and they let him do it. And then he lays it off to a Hudson-Odoi or Alanga, or Gibbs-White to then lay it off to Hudson-Odoi or Alanga, and it just kills. It just kills the opposition defense. But every goal he scored this season has been so different. You know, he scored 1 penalty. He scored that header over Leicester, Fastest head. He scored a header there last weekend. He scored that turn and shoot against Leicester. If you think of every goal he scored, the first goal of the game first goal of the season against Bournemouth. Yates, ball out. He's there. He's the man on point. Every single goal he scored is different. I'm waiting for him to score a bicycle. Like I'm waiting for that to happen. Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say that's why I struggled to describe what he is. It's like that's why I compared him to Haaland, because Haaland's, I watch a lot of Man City and he's extremely similar in that. So I was trying to say it's not really like Fox in the box because the goals are from anyway, like the Crystal Palace goals from outside the box. It's almost like when an opportunity arises, whatever that may be, it's like a light goes on in his head and he's I don't know, it's almost like playing whack-a-mole and he's just whack, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. In terms of that kind of striker, is Haaland is not like take the ball, dribble past a couple of players, and you know what I mean. It's literally just don't think, shoot. Yeah. And I think Brennan Johnson is a winger, right? Obviously, but he's added that to his game in that he takes less time in the ball. And I think Alanga could benefit from that as well, taking less time in the ball in the box. Just don't think shoot, don't think pass, don't think hit it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It sounds ridiculous and really, I'm simplifying it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I always preferred Brennan Johnson when he was in the promotion season. Cooper's come in and he was the striker off. They almost played like 2 wing strikers, didn't they? Where Keenan Davis would go down the left. Brennan Johnson would go kind of down the right, but he had Jed Spence bombing down the outside of him. And he was kind of that striker. I always thought that was his where I thought he played best when he was playing as a sort of striker because of that way he could instinctually, with those low shots into the far corner type thing.
Well, he's with Spurs and just like playing this thing where everyone's wide and then they narrow in. They all just, even the fullbacks charge into the box like a triangle. It's weird, so it works for him. But yeah, look, we obviously the West Ham game in general. Look, everyone spoke about it, but like your general thoughts about our performance, dominance.
I absolutely dominant. When I saw that starting 11, because obviously Gibbs White wasn't on that open day, was he, on Tuesday? So I was expecting him to be on the bench at the very best, and then for him to start, I felt very harsh on Anderson. And I watched Gibbs White for 60 minutes and thought, no, it was fair, it was justified. But yeah, complete dominance. I thought we were good value for our lead. I thought Gibbs White's pass to Moreno was incredible, and Moreno's cross and Wood's movement are all incredible. I thought Alvarez was actually pretty lucky not to get a red card for his first tackle on Gibbs White. And if you've seen the replay of that, he whoops his standing leg. I was very surprised VAR didn't take a look at it.
I think that was the other lad, wasn't it? Or didn't Alvarez get a yellow for something else, or was it Alvarez that got the yellow?
I thought it was that. That's what I thought it was.
No, but I might be wrong. I don't know, because it was the two midfielders got yellows. Alvarez got 2 yellows, and then the other midfielder got. But I thought it was the other midfielder that went to Gibbs White. We might be wrong. Someone can correct us in the comments. It's fine.
Yeah, what's his name? Guido something, isn't it?
He went off for Soler, who then didn't do anything second half. But I suppose the best thing for me is, well, actually, Somerville, and I know other podcasts have talked about this, Somerville deserved the red card. If you watch the replay, that was something I looked at and went, it's definitely on purpose. Like, you have to review that at least. And a lot of people say he was just climbing up and it looks like he's doing it. That's back of the head stuff. That's worse than a punch in the face, because you're kneeing someone in the back of the head. And I know people say, oh, but he didn't mean it. It looked like he might have meant it. And for that, you have to, my opinion is, you have to review it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, look, I think we were in complete control regardless of the red card. I think the only big chance that they had was that one that Wood cleared off the line. If that's 1-1, obviously that changes the game. We wouldn't have got the double yellow, and then we're under pressure ourselves at home. But I think in general, like, I was never, apart from that one big chance they had where it was cleared off the line, there might have been a couple of chances first half, I was never worried about it. Were you were at the game, were you?
No. I was watching through completely illegal methods. But I thought, I actually thought that one that's clear off the line, I thought that would have been called back for high foot on Yates.
Which one? The
one that Chris Wood cleared off the line. I think it was a high foot on Yates from their play. Irrelevant, obviously, because it went wide. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, I thought we were in complete control until the red card. But after the red card, I was just like, this isn't in doubt. This is done.
Oh, unbelievable. And like, I suppose for me, the nerves of coming into a Forest game after the last couple of seasons, I had a little less nerves coming into this. Even when I started, I was like, we've just won the last 2. Like, we'll beat these. And I think there was it's not an interesting statistic. It's just obvious. We scored first in every single game this season, except for the Fulham game. Am I right in saying that? Scored first against Wolves, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Southampton. Yeah, I think every single game, right?
That is phenomenal.
Right. I think we scored first in every single game. Palace, Leicester. Yeah, every game. And every game that we scored first in, we've got something out of it. Fulham game, we didn't score first
Chelsea,
in. And then Chelsea, yeah. So every game we scored first in, I think, except for that Fulham game. And we've got something out of it. And I know last season we were complaining about scoring first and then, we gave away the points. But the defense is obviously the difference this time. So if we score first, we're really hard to break down. And then they have to come on to us and then we break and counter. So we're putting it 2 teams early, which I really, really like. Coming into the next sort of 6 fixtures, this is where people are going to say to us, well, this is where you're going to wake up. You have Arsenal away, Newcastle home. Newcastle home, Arsenal away. I think it's then Ipswich at home, which is a good fixture. Then we United away, City away, and Aston Villa at home.
City away, United away, Villa at home.
So these 6 fixtures, right? What do you expect from them? Because on the face of it, we've gone to Anfield, beat them. We've drawn away to a good Brighton team. We've drawn away to a Chelsea team who have suddenly pulled their socks up a little bit. I think Arsenal are a little bit fragile. We'll talk about Newcastle at the end of the episode because we'll do a little preview for that. But do you think Arsenal are a little bit fragile at the Emirates? I know they have an international break to build it up, or not.
It's odd. I think. So my comment was going to be, I think we can win all three.
They're fragile. That's what you're going to say. They're fragile, and Edu's come to us, and it's all about Forest now. No, go on. We'll talk about Edu in a minute.
No, I think they are. I think Arsenal are already out of the title race. If I'm being perfectly honest, whether not necessarily points wise, because there's a lot of points to play for, but I think mentality wise, I think they're almost shot. They've morphed from this weird like hybrid of Pep with almost like Jurgen Klopp heavy metal pressing into a Jose Mourinho disaster class that hasn't worked for Jose for 10 years and isn't going to work for Mikel Arteta now. It's somebody pointed out to me the other day that Eric Ten Hag's actually won 2 trophies in the time that Mikel Arteta's not won anything. It's
I mean, but to be fair, it's domestic trophies. They're good. They're important. Arteta won an FA Cup in his first 6 months there, I think. So, he did. But I don't care about that. My point is, like, you're right. Arsenal are out of the title race. They've nothing to show for the last 2 years other than progression, and now it looks like they're regressing a little bit. Whenever they get 1 or 2 big injuries, they panic. I mean, Odegaard went down, Saliba got a suspension, and all of a sudden they look very, very fragile. They just didn't chase it in the transfer window. That's their problem, I think. But we go to the Emirates after we played the last 3 games we played against Arsenal. We won 1-0 at the end of that season to stay up. And then last year we lost 2-1 twice. And that was last year was their best season, and it was one of our worst seasons. Like, it was a difficult season for us, right? I wouldn't say it was one of our worst seasons, but you know what I mean? I think they're fragile. I think we could take something from them, and I think we'll be very, very confident going after them.
Oh yeah, 100%. If we can get, just looking at the fixtures here, if we can beat Newcastle, I think we can go there and smash and grab. I think we can go there with a game plan and certainly come away with something. And then, but the thing is, you beat Newcastle on Sunday, isn't it? Sunday. And you kind of go, well, that's entirely possible. They're a bit ropey at the minute. They're not especially good on the road. We're great. We had been great at home with 1-2 on the bounce at home, 3 in a row in all competition in home and away. And all of a sudden you go, right, we'll go to Arsenal. We can get something. Could be a point, could be 3, could be anything, but we can get something. Then we've got Ipswich at home. They're probably the 2nd worst team in the league. We've got to win that. And then you've got Man City at home, Man City away, who are definitely in their start of the season slump. If there's ever a time to get something against Man City, it's now in a midweek game when the fixtures are so clogged up and they've got no players. Who knows what Man United are going to be playing? Ruben Amorim could come in and be the second coming of Alex Ferguson, or he could be the second coming of David Moyes. And then who's Villa at home? And Villa, if they're playing Champions League football, they ain't going to show up at the weekend, are they? So
Villa got battered by Spurs the weekend. Yeah. Man United, we won't know what they are yet. City, you're right. I don't know. I think they'll probably be back ready and firing at that stage. But I don't fear anyone at this point. I don't fear anyone. And obviously the Arsenal game, we spoke about there. I just think we can. I think we can get at some of these teams. For me as well, the interesting thing about the Arsenal game is, after each international break, we've come back and won our games. So first international break, we came back, beat Liverpool away. Next international break, we came back, beat Look, you smiling at that. You love that. Beat Liverpool away. You just can't. It's so good. Beat Liverpool at Anfield. Yeah, it's just strong. Just first come back, beat Liverpool. Yeah. And the second one we came back, beat Palace. Now Palace were on a poor run of form, but we got the job done at home. And we hadn't won a home game up to that point. So
no, we hadn't. No.
So we were a bit nervous about that as well. There was a bit of a tension around the City ground. So I don't know. Look, I'm looking at this going, we are good prepared as well. I know Arsenal will have some of their players back, but a lot of their players will be away on international duty. I know Murillo's going to be on international duty with Brazil. Big up Murillo. Love it. But I think we can get at Arsenal. I think there's times where they are mentally weak, and I think we can get at them. I really, really do. Go on.
No, I was going to say, I think their weakest points is probably fullback as well, which is, you have Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi flying at them. they've been hitting against a brick wall in Murillo and Milinkovic and Aina and Moreno for 20 minutes, and all of a sudden you've got Callum Hudson-Odoi breaking the other way against Alexander Zinchenko, who hasn't been able to defend his entire professional career.
Yeah, mincemeat. It's just like hurricanes. I think. Anyway, those 6 fixtures. If you had to put a guess in, what would you say we could get out of those 6 fixtures? What would you say would be a good return? And then what do you think we're going to get? Bear in mind, we play Ipswich at home and Newcastle this weekend.
I think a good return would be 10 points. I think we should be winning all 3 home games and getting at least a draw against one of those 3 away. What I think we'll probably get is we'll probably get on the spot 3-6. So I think we'll get 8 points. I think we'll get 2 home wins, a home draw, and 1 away draw. I think it just the fact those games are all clumped together. I think that what could be, because it's Monday. A lot of them are Monday, Wednesday, aren't they? Weekday.
Benefits us as well massively because
keep it going.
Villa and all these teams are in the Champions League or the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? So they're all focused on that. A lot of them are still in the League Cup as well. There'll be some of those games coming thick and fast. I know that United are through to the next round. Arsenal are through. Villa, are they through? I can't remember. But there's a lot of teams through to the next round of the League Cup as well. So those games will be coming around and about. So they're just their focus isn't really on the league, and our focus is fully on the league. We should still be in the League Cup because we did really well against Newcastle, and we're very unlucky not to go through with our second string side out at the time.
I think that's a good point. I think the way that we went out of the League Cup couldn't have been perfect. We had good performance, second team good performance, and we also don't have to keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like we got knocked out. It's not the end of the world.
It gave players confidence as well. Like Jota Silva scored a goal that set him on light. Sousa had a really good game. Miguel saved a penalty. I think Anderson was playing well in that game as well. It just gave, I think Taiwo had a really good game, by the way, apart from the missed penalty. Like it gave everyone a bit of a lift and confidence, and it was good. I think it was Moreno's first game as well. But look, I think you're right. That was a moment where I was like, hang on. If our second string is doing this against a Newcastle team that needs a trophy, they need a trophy at some point, domestic or otherwise. If we're doing that against a team that needs a trophy, boy, gosh, we are going to be flying this season, and we have been. So it's been brilliant. Let's talk a little bit about Edu coming in. This is a bombshell that happened today. I see that Edu's leaving Arsenal, and then I start seeing that he's linked with us, and then Sky Sports confirmed that he's going to, he's working under Marinakis for Forest and Olympiacos, is it? As a sort of an umbrella thing?
It'll be Rio Ave as well, won't it?
Oh, yeah. Rio Ave, yeah. I know that I don't know enough about sporting directors and technical directors, but the Arsenal fans have been absolutely praising this guy for the last 2 years, and they've been in a title race. We've just got promoted 2.5 years ago, and now all of a sudden we're in third, and within a couple of days we've moved fast to get this. How do you think this sort of helps show our ambition?
I think it's incredible. I think this is the kind of big club thinking that the owner's clearly doing. I would, if somebody come out and said we're going to try and replicate what Edu's done at Arsenal or what he's doing with Arteta at Arsenal, I would have said that's amazing. The fact that we've actually gone and got Edu is absolutely incredible. I think we've probably managed to get him. I've heard, I don't know, I can't remember. I think I've read it or heard it somewhere that we might have tripled his wages. So imagine that had a hand in doing something. But apparently this is like the first position of its kind in football where he's almost sporting director for all 3 clubs, like an overarching thing. And I think that's probably what's been so attractive. Like Forest are on the up and up. Olympiacos just won the Conference League. Rio Ave in Portugal, where was it Sporting, Porto, and Benfica quite dominant. But outside of that, you've got a good chance to go and get into that top 4. So it's probably just a very, very, very attractive proposition versus Arsenal in he might have been told he's got no more money. What could he do without any more money?
He might have also completed his version of the cycle of the project. Now, obviously, the project's not finished. They need to win trophies, and they'll still be up there. But he might have completed his version of that cycle. Everything he was brought in to do, he has done. And obviously, I heard Sky Sports talking about it's a new challenge for him. And like you said, a new role. So maybe it's that kind of thing. The cycle of his work is done, kind of thing. And he walks out the door and the lights go off and he's ready to move on to the next, But I mean,
Yeah,
it is fascinating that like we're part of that umbrella, and now he's coming to us and Olympiacos and Rio Ave. It's just, I don't know, it's remarkable. And I saw it today, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like someone messaged me saying, "Oh, you're linked," and it was a joke. And I'm like, "Oh my, how are we?" But it just shows our ambition. It shows kind of where we're going. The Premier League has changed us so much in the last 2.5 years. Everything. And I'm sure you've seen it when you go to the ground and stuff. I've seen it when I go over. Each time is a new wave for me. I go every couple of months or a month and I see something new every time. And I go, "Oh, okay." And it's just even the media attention and the social media following and everything's just grown massively. Which is just, I think it's really amazing because we are a big club and Nottingham is a big city, and it's just, we are back. It just feels like we're back, and we are not back to make up the numbers and sit mid-table like Fulham and Bournemouth, who have done well when they've come up with us, because all three of us came up. We were the first season in a while, all three came up, didn't go down. But we are back in a way that's like, no, we're not willing to just do that. We want to do more than that.
Yeah, and I'll admit I was guilty of lambasting the owner for what I saw as relentless ambition and almost to a degree kind of nonsensical kind of thinking. This isn't going to happen. We can't do this. And he's kind of sat there going, Steve Cooper's gone because I'm used to winning the league every season. Like, I'm not happy until we're at that thing, and I've got billions and billions and billions of pounds to funnel into this and nothing else to do. So we're doing it. And me and JJ spoke later before, kind of going, just take 17th next season. Just take 17th next season. It's all about staying up and growing slowly. Nah, it's all about staying up and then going into third in the next season. That's what it's all about. There's no ifs and buts about it, is there?
When you have an owner with that mentality, right? It's like, it's like the Roy Keane mentality of just beat him, just get it done, just win.
Yeah.
Draws or losses, just go for it. It's a win, win, which is really exciting. And I don't think the fans can even quite believe the ambition of the club, because we're having to get dragged along with that ambition and that expectation, and then that'll change things. And then we'll start saying we want more. But that's great. We're a 2-time European Cup winning side, back to back. We're the only teams to do it, apart from Liverpool, the team we beat in Anfield earlier this season. But yeah, it's just great. And it's really exciting to see us bring Edu in. And I'm sure other people will talk about on other podcasts that are better than ours about his role in detail. I can't give any information. I'm just excited about the thought of it, which happened today. So yeah, it's really, really, really cool. Chris Wood coming back Newcastle this weekend. Last time he played them away, he scored a hat-trick. Did he score in the home leg? I don't think he did. I think it was Alanga and someone else, but
that was a 3-2 loss, wasn't it?
It was 3-2 loss at home.
We should have had a penalty, shouldn't we?
We should. Yes, it was Taiwo was brought down.
Got
swiped by the glove. This was one of the contentious decisions that went against us last season.
Yeah.
I was actually incredibly hungover from a wedding the night before in Kerry. My missus was so upset with me. She was like, "We still have to drive the ring at Kerry," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was, stopping him off, getting food, checking the score. Do you know what I mean? Along the way, and I remember thinking, "Gosh, this looks like a really good game." I'm really annoyed that I missed it, but yeah, I think Newcastle. I think Alan Wicklow from Red Side of the Trent, he was messaging me the other day. He said we owe them. We owe them from the last 2 home games where we probably should have got results from those games. I was at the game on St. Patrick's Day and met you and JJ in the Poets' Corner before a year and a half ago.
Is that where Isak scored in the last minute?
Yeah, it was devastating. I was with Statsman Will, who's a regular on the podcast. He's basically part of the podcast, and he really dislikes Newcastle. I don't mind Newcastle. My best mate's a Newcastle fan. He really dislikes them, and he was devastated losing like that because we went 1-0 up, and then they scored late in injury time. They scored stoppage time both ends of each half. Once from an Isak goal, and then the penalty.
Yeah.
Anderson was actually playing for them that day. It was really good. So we owe them. We owe them this weekend. And like, they haven't been performing well.
Nope.
And they've had a bad season. They performed well against the big teams. City, they got a good draw, played really well in that game. Yep. Arsenal, they beat them last weekend. We can beat them this weekend, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I think I watched the second half of the Arsenal game because it was the early kickoff, wasn't it, on Saturday? And it was just Arsenal offered nothing. So although not to discredit what they did, but it's not quite for me like they beat Arsenal last season. If you know what I'm saying. But yeah, absolutely. We can. Their form's patchy. Their form's the opposite of ours. Our squad's fantastic. They've got a good starting 11. I think theirs starts to fall apart a bit from the bench. I'd rather bring Jota Silva than Jacob Murphy. But yeah, absolutely, we should be going there to win. We shouldn't be sitting back at home and thinking we'll take a draw out of this. I would take a draw to keep that run going and keep the consistency going, but we should be starting that game all 30,000 of us thinking we should be getting 3 points in this game.
Absolutely. And they'll find us sticky like they did when we went to St. James's Park and like they did when they came here to us last season. And we're a better team than that now again. We're more cohesive. We've got a better, deeper bench. You mentioned a good point there. Their bench isn't lighting up or pulling up trees.
Nope.
Jacob Murphy and Longstaff, I think Howe's got the best that he can out of those players. No disrespect to those players, but I think he's got the best out of them. And I think signs of wear are starting to show where they can't really spend the money that they have because they're the richest club in the world. They can't spend the money they have. And I think those signs are starting to show. And I think that puts them under pressure because they don't really know where they are. They're not in Europe right now. I don't think they're not in any European Cup.
No, I don't think so.
Competition. No. They were knocked out because United won the FA Cup. So they need to be focused on the league, and they're sitting in the top 10, but not getting closer to the top 6, 4. So they're under a lot of pressure. And I think if we peel away at that, I think we could get in their heads a little bit. And I think we could take something from the game. Definitely get a draw. And I think we could beat them. I think we get 4 in a row. I'm really excited about it. Danger men for them, Isaac and Gordon, obviously.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sandro Tonali as well. I think he's a great player. Again, their starting 11, particularly outside the back four, is fantastic. Bruno, Joe Linton. I love Joe Linton. They're great. My dad always likes to say every team, irrelevant of who you're playing, every team has a purple badge. You can be playing a team from National League North. They will have, even if it's 30-second, they will have a spell of everything comes off for them. We've just got to hope that they're a bit unlucky because they do have quality on the pitch. But I could just see a Nuno masterclass nullifying all their threat and letting us counter attack against them. Yeah,
definitely. And I think he'll have learned from last season. That we don't necessarily need to go counterpunch for counterpunch. We need to just absorb. We have a better defense now to do that, and then hit them on the break. And I think they've a few players, like I said, who are in a bit of disarray. They're not really sure what the mission is anymore. Like, is the mission get a domestic trophy and finish in the top 10? Because it wasn't that before. They were playing Champions League football last season. I like Newcastle as a team, and I like the city. I love the people. I like my mate, as I said, he's a Newcastle fan. I do like them, but I think they're in a bit of a quandary right now with what they are and what the mission is, and that can affect players' mentality. Whereas Forest are the opposite end of that scale. It's like, no. Our mission is no longer stay up. Our mission is at least top 10 now, and maybe even more than that because we're sitting in third right now. So that's the exciting thing, and I think we'll beat them this weekend. I might do a preview with some Forest all over the world fans beforehand, but I think we'll beat them this weekend. I do, and I think we'll keep the run going. And then Arsenal will be shaky in the Emirates after the international break. But yeah, good to see you, man. I hope I didn't talk too much. And
on your podcast, I think that's fine.
Not really, because the other podcasters are generally like on every single other platform are better at not talking and letting the guest who's more interested than me talk. So I do appreciate your patience with me. Can we give a bit of a shout out to JJ, your co-host of the Mist Rolling In podcast? I know you're on a bit of a hiatus. You haven't done an episode in a while, but you guys come back and forth and do one every now and again. JJ's in Thailand, or is he in Malaysia now?
He's in Malaysia, and he's in Malaysia for 2 weeks, I think, and then he's going to Thailand for 2 weeks. So he's not getting a shout out from me because he was earlier sat by a pool enjoying the sunshine and falling asleep. So he's getting no shout out from me.
He's no shit because he's lucky. He's just chilling out. Yeah. Well, he actually he runs, it's him who does heavy metal football, or is that both of you?
Just
you have
JJ,
a jersey on? Just JJ, and it's your sponsor. It also sponsors Forest Focus. The merchandise is great. I mean, we're gonna have merch on this, but it's just gonna be like a mug and a t-shirt. But their merch is really good. Heavy metal football. If you haven't seen it, go buy it. JJ's trying to send me something for free, but I want to spend the money because it's great. Particularly that blue Garibaldi shirt. I love that one. The blue with the white. That's my favorite.
I got the green one. I love the green one.
Well, I love the blue one, and I haven't got it yet, but I will get it. But please do go check out Heavy Metal Football. Their stuff is fantastic, and a big shout out to JJ by the pool, relaxing, falling asleep, reading a book, sipping on a cocktail, or whatever he's doing down there. I'm sure he's listening to us now, going having a laugh to himself at the pool.
I've been led to believe that he fell asleep in the sunshine earlier, and he currently looks like Mr. Krabs. So.
Well, that's not good. I've had windburn and sunburn at the same time once before, and it was on my head, and it's not fun. But before we get out of hand with the podcast, just give me right now. My final position at the beginning of the season was 14th, right?
Yeah, I think mine was something similar. Yeah.
If you ask me to change that now, I'm not going to do it right now. But if you ask me to change it, because I don't want to jinx it, if you ask me to change it now, I probably would. If I asked you right now, if I said, what position are we going to finish by the end of the season? Look at your face. You hate this question. But dream a little bit, right? And the problem is there's no right answer, because if you say anything less than 6, people go, oh, we're in 3rd. If you say anything more than that, they'll be like, what are you doing? Like but if I said to you right now, and you try to get your head in neutral, where are Nottingham Forest finishing in the table?
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the table now. I'm trying to be logical as well as dream about this, and thinking we won't finish above Liverpool, we won't finish above City. I think Chelsea actually have a really good squad and a really good manager, so I'll say that's down to 4th. I'd love to, but I don't think we'll finish above Arsenal. We could finish above Villa, we could finish above Spurs. I actually think Amorim's a really good manager, so I could see United come back up. So I'm going to say 7th. We could.
And now, here's the next part of that question. Would you take 7th if I gave it to you now?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Cash out. I'm out.
And I'm not going to say I would, because I'm just going to keep dreaming. I'm going to let the listeners dream, but I love that. That's fair enough. I think if we get top 10, it's still amazing, by the way. If we get anywhere in the top 10, I still think that is unbelievable compared to our last 2 seasons and the stuff we've had to deal with. But yeah, it's really, really exciting season. I just can't believe it. And it's just great to see so many Forest fans happy. It's been so many years for that. And I don't know. It's just a really, really, really amazing moment. I can't stop smiling. I'm going into work, and everyone who's a fan of Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, whatever, they're looking at me going, how are you doing, Chris? Even Spurs fan, he's sort of half down on himself all the time because he's a Spurs fan. He goes, oh, we'll never do anything. But personality kind of feeds into the team you support. It's weird. Yeah. But it's been a really wonderful time. And yeah, I hope you've been enjoying it as well. I hope you've been getting some shout outs from work colleagues and stuff as well, Jacob. Yeah,
so my manager's a Barnsley fan, and he, they're not having such a great time in the minute, but he likes to, literally come in on Monday and everybody messages like, what a result of the weekend. Like, I just go, know what you're about.
Yeah, because it's not like saying it to an Arsenal fan or a City fan or a Man U fan or a Liverpool fan, because they've been there and about. You're saying it to a Forest fan, we're in 3rd. It's just amazing. But yeah, look, I'll do a Forest All Over the World section next podcast when Matt is back. Or maybe the next one's with Forest All Over the World crew, so Matt might not be here for the preview, but he'll definitely be here for post Newcastle. And yeah, follow us at Forest All Over on Instagram, follow us at NFFC All Over on X or Twitter, like and subscribe. I should have said to like this, people haven't got to the end, so if you've got to the end, just like it immediately and let me know that you got to the end. Jacob, do you want to give a shout out for your podcast or anything else?
JJ's gonna murder me.
You don't remember what it is.
At Miss Rolling in Pod.
Yeah.
at Miss Rolling in Pod. Heavy Metal Football is heavymetalfootball.co.uk.
Good man.
And this one is for my dad, who will listen to this. If anybody wants an additional silver lining on the golden cloud that is our club at the minute, Derby are only 3 points off the relegation zone in Championship.
That's amazing. And that is amazing. And do you know what another silver lining playbook is?
God.
Luton are a footnote right now. They are having an absolute disaster. No one even remembers they were in the Premier League. They're like what Bradford or Oldham were years ago.
Yeah.
Respect Oldham a little bit though, because I'm a friendly sportsman. But yeah, that's what Luton are right now. So it's all coming up Millhouse.
It is all coming. We've all got flood pants on. We've all got flood
brilliant.
pants on.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Jacob. Much appreciated. And we'll roll it out there.